Amy Smith here with Usborne Books More, and I am excited to share all of our illustrated storybook collections. These are amazing, and I'm just going to get started here. For younger children, something like the Big Book of Little Stories is so wonderful. A beautiful cloth-bound cover. There's some really sweet illustrations with a little bit less text. There are, let's look at the table of contents, at least 14 stories in this book, Big Book of Little Stories, and we have Aesop's Fables as well as pirate stories in this. Two new books that came out are 10 10-minute stories and 5-minute bedtime stories. And let's look at the table of contents here. I love the text to picture ratio in this. There's about 10 stories, a little bit more text, but the illustrations really keep interest with your child and get them excited about reading, especially in the evenings, going through these. The 5-minute bedtime stories has a beautiful ribbon marker. And as you can see, some pages have less pictures and some are full color images. Just for you to get an idea, these are all sweet animal stories. To go into the bigger collections, these are all very thick. They fit nicely in your hand. They're not oversized, so perfect for a young child's dexterity. They all have a ribbon marker and are just a beautiful, soft hardcover. If we open up to the table of contents, you can see the stories there, and I've organized these into more illustrations all the way into less illustrations. The illustrated fairy tales, Greek myths, Shakespeare, and the illustrated stories for children, which is a larger collection, so $21.99 for that. And $19.99 for these smaller ones, but you can see there's a little bit more pictures to text, and the Shakespeare one is so fun. And the Greeks, again, is a little bit more mature, but there's less text and more pictures, more mature content in both the Shakespeare and Greek myths, which is expected. We're moving on into more text, adventure stories, enchanting stories, and the Dickens, which will come back out in a revised version because it's currently out of print. Adventure stories and enchanting stories, these are my two favorites, along with the illustrated. If I could pick three, those are the three I would purchase for my child. I love these, and I'll show you why. The enchanting stories take classics like Wizard of Oz, Secret Garden, Little Women, Heidi, and abridge them into an easier to understand story and text for young children, and just really beautiful pictures there. Same with illustrated adventure stories. You have Count of Monte Cristo, Prisoner of Zenda, Three Musketeers, so much rich text in these, and again, pictures on every page with the ribbon marker. Moving on to more text and less images are our Bible stories, Grimm's fairy tales, Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales, and Aesop's tales stories, and I'll show you that. So we have, I love how this one is organized into different pride, trickery, greed, quarrels, friendship. It really teaches the morals of the stories. Some pages don't have a whole lot of pictures, and yet just really keep your interest with the high quality images and beautiful adaptations there. The Grimm's is similar. And all the classics here that you know from the Grimm brothers there. And then the Hans Christian Andersen. Again, the beautiful stories. Some of them are less known and some are more known. You have Princess and the Pea, Emperor and the Nightingale, as well as less known ones such as the Wild Swans or the Little Fir Tree. So, moving on to more text. I have Norse myths and princes and princesses. These have some beautiful black and white pictures, which is unique and very artistic. 12 dancing princesses there. Each story is introduced with a small picture, full illustrations there. Here's the table of contents for the Princes and Princesses collection. And the Norse myths, which is again another more mature content of all the myths, talks about characters and realms, and it does talk about where they came from and the charts. I have not read this with my son quite yet, but I'm excited to do so. And again, you see some pages with no images at all. Lastly, I wanted to show the Usborne Illustrated Originals. These are complete and unabridged. We have Little Women here. We also have Heidi, the Christmas Carol, and just has the whole story with some full color images on those pages. So awesome. And of course, Little Women is just a classic that I love. We have Treasure Island here, as well as Wind in the Willows. And just so wonderful to have the complete version here unabridged. So I hope that gives you a little bit better of an idea of what we have here. And just to go back to this illustrated stories for children, we also have an illustrated classics for children. And this is a little bit larger than you're going to see in the regular volumes there, just to show you a comparison. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy reading.